Hey YouTube, Snowflarky's Emos here with a new Master Duel deck profile. This is my Kairyu Shin Turbo Legendary Ocean Stun deck profile. So Cosmic Ocean just dropped in Master Duel a couple days ago, and I'm a big fan of Legendary Ocean, and it's got all the new Legendary Ocean support. So I figured I'd do some updates on Master Duel Legendary Ocean list. Now this version is probably what I would say kind of more of the better version, which is just focusing on getting Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin onto the field as fast as possible. This monster has an incredible floodgate effect that makes it hard for a lot of decks to play, and that'll win you the game a lot of times. So with that said, let's start getting into the cards. Starting off with our monsters, I am playing 3 copies of Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin. The namesake of the deck is a 5-star 2000 attack monster. While Umi is on the field, each player can only control 1 face-up non-water monster. Now this effect is incredibly powerful if you're not up against a water deck. A lot of decks just crumble, and even water decks will have a hard time going into maybe key extra deck monsters that are not water. And that just makes this a very powerful effect. It's pretty much almost a Gozen match type style effect just on a monster. If a player controls 2 or more monsters of the same type, they must send 2 or more monsters. They must send some to the graveyard so that they can only control 1. So during your main phase, you can add from your deck to your hand an Umi, Kairyu, Shin, Speller Trap, or a Sea Stealth Speller Trap. That's pretty nice. You can use that effect once per turn, so just add you a card once per turn. And any stun deck that can gain card advantage in some way is definitely having a benefit, especially when cards like Umi, those are really good cards to grab. There's some real good targets for that, which we'll explore in a second. So this is a 5-star monster, of course, which may make it look hard to get out of your hand, but luckily we're playing a Legendary Ocean, which is a field spell that'll reduce all water monsters in both players' hand and field by 1. Which means Ocean Dragon Lord can just be normal summoned. Of course, there's another way to get it out of our hand, which is the power of Electric Jellyfish, which we're playing 3 of. We can send an Umi from our hand, deck, or face-up field to the graveyard, special summon a water monster from our hand. So if we got one stuck in our hand, Electric Jellyfish can get out by sending Umi to the grave, and that can even be done from deck, which is just useful to get access to an Umi. So very awesome effect. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect or spell card or effect while Umi is on the field, you can negate the effect and make this card gain 600 attack and defense. So this card just once per turn negates a spell card or a monster effect. Awesome, crazy good effect. And gains 600 attack too, which is pretty nice. You can only use each effect of Electric Jellyfish once per turn. So pretty good card to have, definitely at 3 because we want to see it. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Warrior of Atlantis, which is a 4-star monster, which just has 1900 attack. This card we can discard from our hand to the graveyard to add a Legendary Ocean from our deck to our hand. That is our field spell. Now, funny thing is that a Legendary Ocean is always treated as Umi, so this card really shouldn't work because a Legendary Ocean doesn't exist. But because of how complicated that is, Konami just said, it does, and so it does. And then last, we're playing a copy of Giga Gaga Gigo. This is a 5-star monster, 2450. This card is in here because we can freely summon it off of our Fish Sonar spell. But I have chosen Giga Gaga Gigo over a bigger water normal monster because if we draw it and this card is in our hand, it is still normal summonable with Legendary Ocean. And I like that more over getting it stuck in the hand. Although with Electric Jellyfish, honestly, that's not that much of a problem. So I may switch out for Go Giga Gaga Gigo. Just depends on how I'm feeling. And that's it for the monsters. Next, let's talk about some spell cards. I'm playing 3 Pot of Duality. I'm not doing a lot of special summoning in this deck. We can, but we don't need to. But what we do need is to get Legendary Ocean and Kairyu Shin online. So Pot of Duality helps us dig deeper into our deck to find those cards. We excavate the top 3 and add one of them to our hand. Also shuffle the rest back into the deck. You can only activate Pot of Duality once per turn. So we're using that to find Kairyu Shin or an Umi if we need that, or maybe Dark Reef if we need to get to Kairyu Shin, all of which are viable options. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. At the start of your main phase 1, banish 3 to 6 random face down cards from your extra deck, face down, and we draw a card for every 3 banished. We can't draw cards for the rest of the turn, but that's okay. We turn our extra deck into a draw 2. We are not going into our extra deck in this deck. We want to sit on Kairyu Shin, and we want to sit on Electric Jellyfish because they have great effects. So, glad to turn that into card advantage. Next, we're playing Fury of the Kairyu Shin, the first of our cards that's searchable with Ocean Dragonlord Kairyu Shin. This card adds Torrential Tribute from our deck to our hand. Sweet, awesome. Torrential Tribute's a great card. And if a water monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So, pretty cool card. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Fish Sonar. This card adds a level 7 or lower monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Umi or is a water normal monster. So that means it can add Electric Jellyfish, it can add Kairyu Shin, it can add Yugioh, it can add everything except Warrior of Atlantis specifically because it says a Legendary Ocean, which is very funny. And then if Umi is on the field, you can special summon a water normal monster from your deck. So this card searches Kairyu Shin, can freely summon us Yugioh if we already have Umi set up. Now we can only activate 1 Fish Sonar per turn, but pretty great card. It searches the card that wins us the game, so we're into that. Next, we're playing 3 Legendary Ocean. Now we have so many things to search this, but we really want a Legendary Ocean, and there's even effects that allow us to benefit off of getting rid of our Legendary Ocean. So we want to see multiple of these so that we can, get rid of some and replace them. This card is just always treated as Umi. It gives all our water monsters on the field 200 attack and defense, and we reduce the level of all water monsters in both players' hands and field by 1. This allows us to play Kairyu Shin for free from our hand as a normal summon, and that's awesome. Next, we're playing Sea Stealth 2. This card's name becomes Umi while on the field or in the graveyard, which is really the most important effect about this. Your opponent cannot target water monsters you control with non-water monster effects. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, at the start of the battle phase, you can special summon from your hand or graveyard 1 monster that mentions Umi or 1 water normal monster in defense position, but destroy it at the end of the battle phase. So, of course, that gives you a target that makes it harder for them to attack you because Sea Stealth Attack will destroy their monsters when they try to attack because they're level 5 or higher, which we'll talk about in a second. But what's even more important is while it would destroy at the end of the battle phase, we can actually tag them out with Sea Stealth Attack, so they just disappear till the end of the turn and get to stay. Next, we're playing Rage of Kairyu Shin, another Kairyu Shin spell that is searchable. If Umi is on the field, target monsters our opponent controls up to the number of water monsters you control whose original levels are 5 or higher. Destroy them, and if you do, the zones they were in cannot be used until the end of the next turn. You can only activate 1 Rage per turn, so it just destroys monsters. We can, destroy multiple monsters too. If, say, we got Yugioh and Kairyu Shin off of Fish Sonar, and that is just pretty cool. And that's it for our spells. Taking a look at our trap cards, I'm playing 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. Pretty nice, especially with it being searchable from the Kairyu Shin Fury spell, which is searchable with Kairyu Shin. So we have searchable Torrential Tribute, which is a great card, disrupt an opponent's combo mid-summon. And of course, we can protect our own monsters by either tagging them out with Sea Stealth Attack or using Fury of the Kairyu Shin's Banish effect, which is pretty neat, just a cool thing to have. Next, I'm playing a copy of Heavy Storm Duster. This is Master Duel, best of 1 format, so you see some spell and trap card based decks. So I really like to have this card just to pop 2 for 1 card. And, that's pretty awesome. Next, I'm playing 3 copy of Kairyu Shin's Dark Reef. This is a really great trap card that sends a face-up Umi we control to the graveyard to special summon up to 2 monsters with different names from your hand and or deck that mention Umi or are water normal monsters in defense position. So this is pretty cool because if we have Umi and we have Dark Reef and we weren't able to get to Kairyu Shin, we can send Umi to the grave to pull out Kairyu Shin and Electric Jellyfish. And what makes this really great too is we can put our Umi back and activate their effects if we got Sea Stealth Attack on board. So it's just a pretty sweet card to have, even if we already have Kairyu Shin set up. This just gets us 2 more monsters, Electric Jellyfish, no more Kairyu Shin, which just gives us a larger attack presence to finish off our opponent before they draw outs. So pretty cool card. And then, of course, we are playing 3 Solemn Judgment. There's a lockdown deck, stun elements, and Solemn Judgment pays half our life to just say no to a summon or spell or trap card, and that is very good. And, not much more to say than that. Next is Solemn Warning. This is a card I'm mostly playing because I don't have 3 Solemn Strike on Master Duel, but Solemn Warning negates a summon for 2,000 life points. It either negates a summon or a spell or trap card or monster effect that includes a special summoning a monster. which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the next is 2 Solemn Strike. When a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1,500 life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So this is nice, takes care of some problematic monster effects. We don't want anything that's going to risk our Kairyu Shin Floodgate setup. And, Solemn Strike helps protect. And then last for traps, we're playing 2 copies of Sea Stealth Attack. Crazy good trap card that, while it's been out, still has good use in here. This card is now searchable with Kairyu Shin, which is awesome. And what's awesome about this is when this card is activated, you can activate Umi from your hand or graveyard, which is pretty nice if you use Dark Reef to send Legendary Ocean to the grave, and then you activate Sea Stealth afterward. You can put that Umi back on the field. Now, while Umi's on the field, this face-up card gains these effects. Once per turn, you can banish a water monster you control until the end phase. This turn, face-up spell or traps you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which is pretty cool. That protects your Legendary Ocean from getting destroyed, your Sea Stealth too. It used to be a more prominent effect in older versions where you mostly played Floodgates, but now that our monsters are the Floodgates, it's mostly just there to protect your water monster. And then at the start of the damage step, if your water monster whose original level is 5 or higher battles an opponent's monster, destroy that monster. So that means anything that tries to attack Kairyu Shin or Giga Gaga Gigo will be destroyed by this card effect. Now, Electric Jellyfish doesn't get this protection, but that's okay. We can use Sea Stealth's first effect to tag Jellyfish out and force them to attack one of our level 5s. And that is it for the main deck cards. The extra deck is not much to talk about here. It's mostly just filler because we're not really going into it. If I optimized it here, I would go all in on cards like Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon and Blackwing Full Armor Masters so that I could play Waking the Dragon if I wanted to. It's a really good trap card that says if the set card in its owner's control is left the field because of an opponent's card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, you could special summon a monster from your deck or extra deck. So just a punishment for your opponent trying to throw down a Harpy's Feather Duster. But it is less necessary in this deck because we have Sea Stealth to protect what we need to stay on, Legendary Ocean. So you could just fill it with, random anything just so that our extravagances are online. So here's a replay to show the deck in action. We are going first against our opponent. Pretty solid opening hand. Extravagance gets us 2 more cards. This searches us Torrential Tribute. Fish Sonar can, of course, search us a monster that can, has Umi in the text. Solemn Warning is just a nice card, and Kairyu Shin's Dark Reef is pretty nice. We just really need to dig for Legendary Ocean, and we're pretty much set. So let's get the game going here. So we're going to start off our main phase by playing Extravagance. We're going to banish 6, draw 2 cards. Now they don't have Ash, which allows us to do it. We get Warrior of Atlantis, which is pretty good. We're going to play Fury of the Kairyu Shin right now, get Torrential Tribute out of the deck into our hand. Then we're going to play we're going to play Warrior of Atlantis to grab Legendary Ocean. Doesn't look like our opponent has any disruption, so no fear getting that negated. Now we can play Fish Sonar, which is going to add us our Kairyu Shin, and because Umi's on the field, we are of course also going to be special summoning Giga Gaga Gigo. Kairyu Shin on the field means that we can search our card because we have Dark Reef already. We want to add Sea Stealth so that we can do the Dark Reef Sea Stealth Taka combo, and of course we have 5 back row to set, so pretty solid board to start with here. Now we're going to give it our to opponent. Right off the bat, we're going to play Kairyu Shin's Dark Reef because I want that Jellyfish online to negate cards right out the gate. So we're going to summon a Jellyfish and a second Ocean Dragon Lord. This is nice too because if they have infinite impermanence to negate 1, there's going to be a second on the field, which is awesome. And then, of course, right afterward, we will be activating Sea Stealth, putting Umi back on, making all their effects activated again. So they are going to summon the Nebula Dragon, trying to reveal Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon and summon both. They can't do that because they can only control one non-water monster. So only Nebula Dragon is going to hit the field. And then, of course, we see the lockout. They can't do anything else. Especially because I negate their monster effect, and I'm going to OTK them on the next turn. And that is the end of that game. So that is it for my Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin stun deck. Pretty cool deck, and as far as the new stuff in the new secret pack goes, the Kairyu Shin is not too expensive. The only new ultra rare out of them is Ocean Dragon Lord, which isn't that bad. Fish Sonar being a super was nice. I really expected this to be an ultra too. And of course, cards like Electric Jellyfish just being normal rarity. Yeah, the fact that the other archetypes are kind of more of the attractive pieces makes this a pretty Dust budget friendly deck, especially since a lot of these cards like Duality and Extravagance I've just had for so many other things. And, pretty cool. Um, yeah, lots of stuff that carries over. So not a lot of dust you have to dump into specifically this deck. You can use Solemn for other stuff. So, yep, very much enjoy this deck. Definitely going to be working on other versions. A version that is Legendary Fisherman combos, one that's less stun heavy. But if you want some easy free wins with a water strategy, get to use some cool Mako Tsunami monsters. Solid deck choice for you. Let me know what you think. Love to know what you're doing with the new Umi cards. And let me know what your favorite archetype was that got support in Cosmic Ocean. We'll talk more in the comments below. Catch you in the next one.